Greetings to all these amazing growth-minded people who have chosen to invest in themselves, invest in their futures, invest in making their way through this shift like just warriors, making sure that your income is not dictated by the nature of the market. I'm so grateful that you're on the other side of the screen right now, and we are about to go through an amazing journey forever. And it starts now. Really, it started the minute that you signed up. And it really starts now because here's where we're going to start to go in on the things that are going to help us have an amazing, not just 2023, an amazing life, a life that a life that we never even dreamed about before. So it's going to be wonderful. And each time that we have one of these, we're going to have a topic that we're going to cover. And the topic that we're going to talk about today is foundational, and it's commitment. It's that idea that it's getting done. Not, well, I might. Maybe bold will be the way that I do it. Maybe I'll lead generate today. No, commitment. Commitment. And speaking it, as we get into commitment, tying it to bold, here's what I'm going to tell you. The way that you walk into step one, the way that you walk into our very first class of bold is going to have everything to do with the success that you receive while we're in that room, right? So make that choice now. Make that choice now. You're going to be there. You're going to go in with an amazing attitude. And of course, we're going to have these next 6 weeks together to make sure that that happens. And it's going to be wonderful and lovely and all the things. And as we go through this call today, I want to encourage you to take notes, right? And because frankly, you are way more likely to remember these things, to implement these things, to be impacted by these things if you write them down. That's proven. There's been a lot of real smart people, way smarter than me, that have done studies to prove that. So go ahead and take notes today. And you know what? Maybe right now you're having this thought, I'm not really a note person. I don't really take notes. See, there's our first lesson, right? I'm going to challenge you to be a note person today because maybe not being a note person hasn't been serving you. In fact, saying that you're not a note person or that I don't like taking notes, that's an affirmation. When we get into the room together, let me future pace for you. You'll hear me say this a lot. That's an affirmation. Like you might come up to me and say, oh, I'm just not really good with listings. Well, that's an affirmation. So if you're not a note person and maybe it doesn't serve you, then you can change it and decide today to be a note person. So in that vein, look, guess what? The great thing about a recorded coaching session is you could just hit pause and go get a pen and paper or a pen and a notebook, whatever it is. In fact, if you've got a fresh notebook, maybe a great time to grab that and have that be like your bold Bible. Go ahead and you can do that now. Just pause. I'll wait. Cool, that was plenty of time because you paused me. You didn't need me to wait any longer, right? So we're going to take notes. We're going to play all in here because we're going to play all in the room, and we're going to play all in our career, and we're going to play all in our lives. I know far too many people in this industry that are busting their you-know-what for business and don't like the way they live outside. And what's the point, right? So we're going to be all in all things. And here's where I want to start with commitment. I want to make sure that you have a clear understanding. Because one of the things that I've found over the years, not only in my own career, as I've transitioned into more of a coaching role, this has really stood out at a high level. And I realized I wasn't the only one that did this, right? We talk about goals. Like, I bet you if you're watching this on some level, you would describe yourself as a goal-oriented person. You probably have a goal. Maybe it's not fully fleshed out. And yet at some point, you have a goal for your business in 2023. I bet you've got some goals for your life, for maybe your wealth, for maybe your health, for maybe your family. Like you've got some goals for 2023. And goals are a wonderful thing. Like dreams are fluffy, goals have a plan behind them. So goals are great. Except I think we've gotten to a place, and I don't know if it's our industry or our society or whatever it is, and yet definitely in our industry, where we've just decided that goals are like, I don't know, now they're dreams. We don't follow through. If I asked however many of you are watching, let's say that there's 100 people that are watching this at the same time and it wasn't recorded, and I could ask you, hey, how many of you are on track to close out 2022, because we're almost at the end, right? How many of you are on track to close out 2022 and meet or exceed the goals that you had for your business? Now, here's what I know, not because you guys aren't amazing, because you're part of the real estate industry. 90% of you are not on track to hit your goals easily. Why is that? Well, that's because we have goals that we're not committed to. So here's my easiest example of commitment. Sorry, it's kind of dark. It's just the easiest way to get there. So just roll with me, all right? So you come home and you walk in your door. Now, if you don't have children, let's assume that you do have children. You've got young children at home, and you walk in your door, and your little boy or little girl is face down on the floor. And next to their body, you see that there's a bottle of pills and it's empty. Doesn't really matter what pills, it could be something super basic. If there's a bottle full, like, right, what do you do? So little Timmy or little Jane is on the floor. They're non-responsive. You know they did something bad. What do you do? Right. Well, and I'll do this for you. You don't have to shout it out to me. The first thing you're going to do is you're probably going to grab your phone and call. You're going to check them first. You may or may not know CPR. You don't know what to do. You're going to call 911. Well, your phone doesn't work. What are you going to do? Well, you're probably going to run next door and you're going to find a neighbor who can call 911 or come help. Nobody's home. You may go 2 or 3 homes down and then you start to freak out. Oh my gosh. So then you come back. You grab that kid, you throw that kid in the car. What do? You start the car to take it to the hospital. Car won't start. Car is dead. Oh my gosh, what do? Well, what you would do is you would literally throw your child over your shoulder and you would start running down the street. In fact, if you don't have children and you walked up on that, I bet you do the same for a stranger's child, because that's commitment. That's commitment. Like, there is no other option to get this child medical help so that we can save its life. Now, that's not super fun to talk about. And yet, I do believe that when we meet our business with the same urgency, if we've decided for 2023 that we're going to sell 100 homes or 50 homes or 10 homes or 1,000 homes, like whatever that number is, if we are not committed to it, if we are not, like, if it is not set in stone, like it is happening, if we are not committed to it, then we know that it's not going to happen. And that's where goal has kind of, in my head at least, started to just, it sounds like you said dream when you say goal. Like, when you're committed to selling a certain amount of houses and it is absolutely going to happen, then it'll happen. And there's a lot more than just, okay, well, then that's what I'll do. I'm committed to it. No, well, there's some mind shift that goes with that. So a lot of it is going to be that you're committed to doing the actions. You know, we talked about, if you're not a note taker, okay, well, maybe it's time to do that. Maybe you don't like taking notes, so you don't take notes, and yet you don't get the growth results that come from taking notes. So maybe you don't like lead generating, or maybe you don't like lead generating in this manner, and yet you know that unless you do that, you're not going to succeed. So all of a sudden, the pain of lead generating is not as bad as it is the idea of not hitting your commitments, right? So we've got to be committed. You know, those of you that actually wash your hair, which I'm going to guess it's all of you. I bet even if you're beautiful and bald, I bet you probably still wash that thing. So, like, right, if you turned around that shampoo bottle and read it, or the conditioner bottle, right, what do they all say? You're going to lather, you're going to rinse, and then you're going to repeat. We've got to remember that in our business. We've got to remember that with Bold. Like, there's a lot of you that have taken Bold before. Good for you for doing the repeat part. Because there's a lot of people that are like, nope, I did it, I'm done. That's not how life works. That's not how your business works. We get to get in a flow where we lead generate every single day that we work, where we lead follow up every single day that we work. And we don't care about anything else that's going to happen until those things are done. We don't schedule anything else until those things are done. Because lathering and rinsing will clean your hair. Repeating will keep it that way. Repeating will keep you from looking like you just got up off the street. So we've got to be careful. We've got to use that part that is so important. Now, I want to tell you something. Part of this, if we're going to be consistent and if we're going to succeed in a shift, that's going to take a positive attitude. Like, and I'm not going to go super smally on you. And like, your attitude affects everything. You know, we'll talk in Bold about the 2 things that we have control over, and there's only 2 of them. So if you are a control freak, I'm so sorry. I am a constantly performing control freak, and I have learned to love the fact that there's only 2 things I have to master, and those are my mindset or attitude, same thing, and the actions that we take. Well, the actions that we take are not going to be great if we don't have the right mindset for it. So think about it. I'm going to read you something, and this is: a positive attitude is defined by the way you dedicate yourself to the way that you think. I'm going to say it again. A positive attitude is defined by the way that you dedicate yourself to the way that you think. Like, in other words, if you've dedicated to thinking positive, then you're going to do it most of the time. And that most of the time is probably enough, as long as it's most and not part, right? Now the challenge is that a negative attitude is defined in the same way. If you're committed to a negative attitude, then you're going to get stuck there. And here's the reality. Some of us have been living on some level in a negative attitude for so long that we don't even see it. Because of course our vibe attacks our our vibe attacks our tribe. That'd be awful. Our vibe attracts our tribe. A lot of us have heard that statement before. So if you're used to hanging out with all negative people, then you're in a group of people that doesn't even realize they're negative. So one thing that we've got to understand is that as we go on this journey, and this is a journey, this is not a journey of the 6 weeks leading to Bold. This is not a journey of the 6 weeks, then 7 more to get through Bold. This is like a rest of your life journey where it's taken you forever to become who you are now. You've been conditioning yourself forever. And before you were conditioning yourself, you had other people like parents and grandparents and teachers and siblings that were conditioning you. And so we've taken, for some of you, tens of years, for all of you, tens of years, for some of you, a lot of tens of years, like that we've been creating who we are. Now, the beautiful thing about our brain is that we can change it at any time. It's just going to take work. It's not going to be a one-time decision. Like at the end of this video, you might feel great about changing your attitude and making sure that you had the commitment attitude, that you had a positive attitude around commitment, that you never missed goals, that you did whatever it took. And yet, if you don't spend time on this daily, well, eventually this one video is not going to be enough for you. So we've got to understand and give ourselves some grace and understand that it is going to take time for us to change who we are at our core, and that we can. You know, I give an example a lot of times when I'm talking with somebody in Bold who maybe is a little nervous to stand up and share in front of a crowd or anything like that, or maybe they're nervous to go on a listing appointment. And this is what I share, and you'll see that some of you have been in the room with me before and some of you haven't. And you'll see at step one, like whatever you'll see in me, you won't see nerves. I don't do it that. Like, I'm not nervous when I'm up there. I really haven't been since the very beginning of me being a coach. Now, here's what's interesting. I would say a year and a half before I became a coach, being in a Bold room of 100 people, standing up and sharing an aha, I was so nervous leading up to it that after, when I sat down, I was physically shaking to the point where I can't tell you how many times I've gone to grab a cup of water, because like 5 years ago was before everybody carried a Hydro Flask situation. So I'm like picking up a glass of water and gone, spilling all over the table, because I was shaking like a leaf from just sharing 1 or 2 sentences with a group of people. And now I get up and I lead those groups. I'm in a Bold now that I'll be at tomorrow as I'm recording this to graduate, where I've got 200 people in that room. No nerves at all. That took work. That took me getting intentional. That took me realizing that there was something more out there for me that was going to bring me a lot of fulfillment. And in order to do it, I was going to have to change the way that I felt about certain things. And I had to change the way I felt about them because I needed to change the way that I did them. I needed to change my actions. And I got to start at the core, as in how I just looked at things, how my attitude towards things were. To not accept, oh, I'm just not good at speaking in public. I had to change that. So all of this is going to take time. And I want to encourage you to give yourself the time that you need. You know what? I'd like for you to decide every day, beginning now, that you are worth the effort to become who you desire to be. Because here's what's interesting to me, my friends. People get into real estate, they're looking for the wealth, and they're looking for the freedom, and they're looking for the flexibility. They're looking to change their life. They're looking to take control of their time and all of this great stuff. And yet, as I know most of you will know, and as I have definitely seen, most people never get to the wealth because we've got a skewed vision of what the freedom and the flexibility is. We think we just show up and throw spaghetti at the wall and it's going to be fine. Or maybe we don't show up and do anything. Maybe we just wait for the business to come to us. And we're not living lives out loud. We're not creating the wealth that we were looking for. And I would like for you all to make a conscious choice that whatever wealth looks like to you, by the way, because there's a different definition for everybody, let's be committed to building wealth. Let's make sure that this is not just about making sure our bills are paid in 2023. That's like the base level. Let's make sure that we're committed to growing, that we have decided that we are worthy of the effort to become who we know in here and in here that we're supposed to be. Because there are enough other businesses you could be in or jobs you could go get that will not encourage you to do that, that will not give you the vehicle to go and be whoever you want. I live a life that me 10 years ago would have laughed at anybody if they said it would be possible. It took a lot of time for me to get there, that I saw that it was possible, and therefore to go get it. All right. And another thing that I want to give you, if you were going to be committed, right, there's some things that we're going to have to put into play. So if we're going to be committed through this process, committed in our business, committed in our relationships, committed to our health, to our wealth, committed to all these things that matter to us so much, that then we're going to have to learn the art. And boy, real estate agent friends, I know it's so scary, to be present. To be present. That's one of the biggest things that's missing in our industry. It's this all the time. It's all the time, which stops us from lead generating, which stops us from having the ability to follow up on leads, which stops us from having contracts to ever to negotiate. Y'all get it. We've got to learn to be present. And that includes in things like this. Like, we're already minutes into this. I don't know how long, it doesn't matter. And I would venture to bet that many of you are doing 12 other things, or maybe you're driving. And no judgment. Like, I'd rather you listen to this while driving than not listen to it at all. And yet, how much more value would you get out of this or any other class or Bold or your lead gen time or your time with your children or your spouse if you were present during it? You know what scares me is that I believe that there's so many real estate agents right now who have spouses and children and close friends and parents and siblings who think this is what their face looks like. And I know that some of you chuckled, not because I'm convinced I'm funny. I've just done that before. That's no good. And so here's what a committed person does. And you're watching a video about committed, just in case you're just tuning in, right? So a committed person is going to be committed to what their calendar tells them to be doing. So the great news is that when it's time for you to lead generate, there we go. Hey, when it's time for you to be in lead generation mode, if your calendar's telling you to do it, you're going to do it, which means you're not going to have any other distractions because you're committed to the goal that you're working towards in your business. And where my heart lies and what you will learn over the next few months with me is that I don't think business success is worth anything if you're not happy outside of your work world. And so we've got to learn that if we're able to be present at work, that buys us the permission to be present when we are at home, when we are with friends and family and kids, when we're at the gym doing something for us, when we're spending time in a book to grow ourselves as people. Like, we're allowed to just be present and act like it's not 2022 and your phone isn't ringing 32,000 times. It's okay. Take it from somebody who doesn't work nights and weekends. I made that decision about 6 years ago and thought the whole world was going to fall apart, yet I did it anyways because I was falling apart. And man, everything was fine. Nobody fired me over it. Nobody really got mad about it. I had to set expectations and tell people. And so I'm just going to advise you to just be present in all things because you deserve the growth. You're worth growing. You're worth being the best version of you. All right. And as you move forward on this journey, it's going to be difficult at times. Bold and just your business and your life in general. Like, you've all had moments where everything was great, and then in one fell swoop, like one thing happened or one call came, and all of a sudden everything was ugly and hard again. And so we've got to get ready for that too, because a committed person is going to expect that things will go wrong, not focus on them. Just understand and expect that things are going to go wrong in their business and going to go wrong in their life. And a committed person has contingency plans to make sure that they move through it anyway. So, like, almost everybody ever in Bold is going to have that one point at some point where they're like, oh, I think I should quit. This is too hard. A committed person won't do that. You committed of your time, you committed of yourself, you committed of your money to be in this experience, and you're going to see it through even on the days that aren't so easy to do so. A committed person doesn't stop lead generating because somebody takes a nasty tone with them or says something to them that they don't like. A committed person takes a minute, gets over it, and continues to move forward. A committed person has a backup plan if their plan doesn't work out, and a backup plan for the backup plan. Because that's the other thing that happens in real estate. We have these best laid plans, we're committed, we actually chose to focus, and then the results don't come. And now and the average real estate agent quits when that happens. Committed people like you choose to not. They choose to, okay, what did I learn? What didn't work? What do I fix? Back to work. So as we get to the tail end of this video here, here's what I want you to take from this. I want you to take a new mindset around the thought of goals and plans, because that's where we're at. We're at the end of 2022. We're moving into a new year, a year that we know is going to be challenging for us. Just is. That's okay. We can't control it. We can work with it. And so I want to ask you to be committed to your goals. In fact, I want you to take some time between now and the next video. If you aren't clear on what your goals are for 2023 and what your goals are for the time that you're in bold, take some time to look at that. Reach out to me if you want to chat about anything as well. I'm happy to connect. I want to make sure that you roll in with intentionality. Because if you are committed to selling X number of homes, or to earning X amount of dollars, or to buying X amount of investment properties, or to getting to X number of pounds weight, like if you're committed, truly, mentally, like there is no option, failure is not a thing, it's going to happen. If that's the mindset that you have, you'll be good. You know, one of the things that we'll talk about in Bold that many of you have heard, if you've taken Bold before, so I won't stay here long, don't worry, I don't want to regurgitate Bold things. And there is no try. Think about how often you say you're going to try and do something that's important. And you know, like I don't have to ask, like you know that if I say I'm going to try to show up to your party, you know that I'm not coming. If you told your team leader that you were going to try and make it to Bold and didn't actually sign up, she or he knew that you weren't going. Right? So where are we trying on our goals and trying on our plan? And I need you to just mentally be ready to be like, no, commit. No, I'm committed to selling this much. I'm committed to earning this much. Like, let's literally start there. Let's start at the foundation, which is the way that we think. So let's go in. Let's make sure that you are clear about what goals you have for this year, business and personal. Please do not be a real estate robot. What are you looking to achieve in your business and your life this year? What specifically are you looking to achieve in Bold? Is it getting into a better regimen of lead generation? Is it taking better control of the use of your time? Whatever it is, let's get super, super clear and let's choose to be committed. Let's remind ourselves constantly that it's going to take time to make the change. We're not going to expect the results right away, even though I know that's the society that we live in. And every day in all things, we are going to remind ourselves that we are worth the effort and worthy of the effort and the work that it's going to take and the time that it's going to take to become the person and the business owner that we are intended to be. The difference between anybody watching this right now and the most successful person that they can think of is nothing other than what they do with their time and how committed to their goals that they are. I can think of some of the most successful people in this company and who are making millions upon millions upon millions upon millions of dollars a year just in real estate. Forget all the other businesses they probably own. And most of them are not super highly educated. Most of them do not come from any kind of money. In fact, there are a number of people at the top of our company who have been homeless in their life. They're committed to their goals. They're committed to the actions that it's going to take for them to hit their goals. And they take the time to slow down and remind themselves that they're worthy of doing the right thing and not just the easy thing. So my friends, we're going to be on a long journey together. You're going to learn to do the right thing over the easy thing, to do what must be done rather than what you want to be done. And the beautiful thing is, when you make those tough choices, when you do what you don't want to do because you know it needs to be done, and when you do the right thing, even though the easy thing would have been so much easier, your life on the outside of real estate gets easier. Your life on the outside of real estate gets more fun. You get to do whatever you want, whenever you want, with whomever you want, when you work hard enough in this business to hit your goals, when you are committed. to who you are intended to be. So I'm excited to work with you. Look out for another one of these on Monday. Reach out to me anytime. I am officially your coach. So whatever you need from me, you reach out. I will always get back to you in a timely manner. And I love nothing more than to help mastermind with somebody and get them turned into a committed person that hits all their goals always and always. I appreciate you all. Take care.